Let's go with Jeff first.
Hi, Emma.
Hey.
Jeff Kassouf,
How are you?
ESPN. Good. How are you? I'm wondering about a little bit more of the coaching community and ideology. We saw you met Show Reeve, and we saw the Deion Sanders a few days ago. When you get those moments, and they're pretty brief, what do you try to extract from those from coaches in even other sports? And what do you try to maybe give back or give off?
Nothing really, just support. Just support. Coaches understand coaches no matter what sport it is. I got more time with Coach Reeves at the arena, so we had a lengthy chat around, why they do a shootout on game day.
Shoot around.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. A shoot around, because obviously in football we don't train on the day of a game, but the hectic schedule and the game accumulation in their sport and the importance of the fine margins, something I always place a lot of importance on. But also watching her coach, that was really enjoyable, watching her lead. And all I kept thinking was, I'd love to be able to coach in this area. You don't have to use your voice. And I noticed with the mic that was sat next to me during the game the other day, my mother even reported that she could hear me all the way back in England. In basketball, it's very easy to be able to coach with people in close proximity. When you coach in a football pitch, you have to be really loud, and you don't get plays like you do American football, where you get even more organised time. So just taking little pointers, to be honest with you, and I've always been a fan of American sports, so this isn't new for me. I remember when we were coming to Denver, Hyphen and I had a conversation. He said, I don't know what it was. I was like, that's his home, Coach Prime. Please, can you get him there? So this has been a whirlwind tour for me, and one that I'm thoroughly enjoying at the minute.
Lakin up front.
Thanks. Hey, Emma, Lakin Lippman, Fox Sports. I know in Colorado you were asked a lot about Lindsay, and you talked a lot about Lindsay, but I think one of the things you said was she's highly motivated to lead the team and make sure the right building blocks are in place. I was wondering if you could give some examples as it pertains to the principles you're trying to instill of what she's doing.
First of all, Lindsay's played at the highest level on a consistent basis, not just for country, but for club. We talk about the value of the Champions League and what we've learned as players and coaches. And those exposures, those tactical exposures, give you something different. I've spoken about this before. Different competition exposes you to different things. So in Europe, it's natural a player like Lindsay is exposed to more of those different situations, more diversity of games. And the difference is, they really, really are different. You could play a Paris Saint-Germain, who are a man-for-man marking system anywhere, versus, a German team who have very, very, clear ideas on their mid-block principles. They're really, really distinctly different. You could face that from a Wednesday to a Saturday in a way that you wouldn't maybe just in your domestic league. So I value her experiences, and she is very thoughtful and really wants to do the best things for the team. And I've only had limited time with her, but I found every one of our interactions to be quality. So, I value her input.
Anyone? We got some online. We can go there. Do you have one, Meg? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Emma.
Hey.
Just in terms of Alyssa Nair missing out on this camp with injury, what have you seen from the goalkeeping pool? Jane Campbell getting 90 minutes. Do you think we're going to see a change for this game so that way you can evaluate someone else in game minutes?
Yes, we're going to see a change. I think it's important that we see a lot of changes, to be honest with you, because, as I've explained already, training has been teaching us as to play as us, and that's been every single player. So even though there'll be lots of changes in this game, I feel confident that everybody's been training as us, therefore it's just translating into the game. But I think it's important to manage expectations, because while we are building off of our first game as a whole group, some people are going to get their first exposure to that tomorrow. The connections might be different. So those reference points might start again first before we can build to the next place. But I believe it's essential because we need a squad to select first in the Olympics. So I need to know where everybody's at within that in terms of their understanding, then their application, because I've learned from many of them, sometimes as they're processing it all week, maybe their training hasn't been at the level that they want because they're processing so much. And then they're getting into the game and they're like, I've got it. Same has to be said for players who might not have got a start the other day. They need the opportunity to do that. But I think I stick with what I've said all along. This is a process. We focus on the steps to get us there. I expect there will be bumps again tomorrow. My job is to close the gap on that on the end of this camp. But I want everybody to feel valued and feel that they have, the opportunity to express themselves. So expect multiple changes.
All right, let's go online to Glenn Crooks. Go ahead, Glenn.
Thank you, Aaron. Hi, Emma.
Hello.
Kind of sticking on that subject, one of the things you said after the match, we stuck to structures and the coaching, being able to play the way we did is really exciting. I'm wondering exactly what specific part of the game really impressed you, considering the challenge of the limited amount of time, on-field time that you've had with them.
I think there are probably less bumps than I anticipated. I thought it would be a little more transactional, more transitional, because you can't go from one extreme to the other. And we want to control the game. So for us to have the level of control in the way that we did surprised me. Probably the first thing. The team know what I expect going into the second game. We've worked through the areas of improvement. So I'll answer that at the end of the next press conference to see if they actually happened. Because, of course, we're playing an opponent and I'm not going to make it easy for them. But it was the application of everything we'd done. Like I said, it's a step-by-step process of exposing the players to the information, overloading their brain, them comprehending that and then applying that. And I could see lots of little different things happening from an individual, a unit, a team perspective that was impressive, but we'd be here all night, trust you me, so I won't go there.
We'll go to staff after we go to Jonathan. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Thanks, Aaron. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I want to ask Emma another question about the goalkeepers, if you don't mind. With Alyssa not here, do you think you'll have seen enough between these two games and what you have of Alyssa on film to make the decision that you want to make when that time comes? Do you think you'll have enough evidence?
I don't have a choice. That's the only time I have. So I don't worry about the things I can't control. I know exactly who Alyssa Nair is and been an established world-class goalkeeper for a number of years. An injury prevented her from being here. If she wasn't injured, she for sure would be in this camp.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Hi, Coach. Obviously, the training camp portion is over with the training players, but I wanted to ask about Croy Bethune. Just wondering, in the limited time that you got, what was your evaluation of seeing her with, the team in that environment? And did notice in training, obviously just 15 minutes, but she wasn't quite as involved as just managing a player who's had a lot of heavy minutes on her legs for her club.
Well, first of all, she came in as a training player, and I think for the training players that come in, they have to accept that they build their way into this environment, and there is always a first step to do that. And that involves playing out of position sometimes because it's what the team requires. Croy is a sweetheart. She really is. She's a real gentle soul. She really cares about, her progression. We had a chat just before she went home about the things she really cares about and really values, and you can see she's really gifted, no question. She's really clever player in between the lines, but I think she could come out wide, but her best position is 10. You've seen in the league she's starting to build that, but I think you have to be at the very, very top. You've got to do it consistently all of the time. She's making steps in the right direction, and for sure she is a player that is going to be part of our future.
Let's go back to online to Henry. Go ahead, Henry Bushnell.
Thanks, Aaron. Hi, Emma. Appreciate your time. Now that you've had a game under your belt, I'm curious how the game day processes here compare to what you experienced at Chelsea. Like whether it's just a routine or the video and data that you have access to in game, how you communicate with your staff. Have you basically been able to copy and paste everything from Chelsea, or are there things that are different here?
No, everything's exactly the same. As I've said, inside our environment, it feels like I'm a heart surgeon in the middle of emergency surgery, and not because anything is drastically wrong, but the reality is it's really, really hard for me to be on the wards or on the clinics and teaching everyone and do surgery at the same time with such a limited amount of time. So the core of my work this week is teaching the team as much as possible. My next objective is to make sure everything around the team and everybody that's involved in that gets the chance to understand that at a deeper level. Like, I have prioritised my objectives this week, getting to know the players, teaching the methodology, and once we leave camp, between now and the next camp, it's about bringing everybody up to that level where everybody can do the surgery, if you know what I mean. For now, they just need to make sure my hair's tucked in.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Leslie Ryder, Galpel Sports. Just wanted to ask you about what the experience has been like, just coming together as a team with everybody kind of coming into it new under what must be immense pressure.
Well, I've had individual meetings with almost everyone bar, I think, 2 players, which I will do after dinner tonight. So the feedback from the players in and around their experiences have been probably the messages I expected to hear. I never want to hear what I want to hear anyway. I just want people to be honest, and everybody feels refreshed and energised, but also, as you say, in this country, locked in to the process and very, very committed to that. And it's a really bright bunch of women that grasp things in such a way, and I honestly put this down to the legacy of the programme. You know, you won't believe how much these women value the history of the programme and how important the shirt and that history means to them. Like, it's so palpable in the environment. Like, I almost get a little bit teary sometimes listening to them when they talk about those things. And it's a group that's learned a lot it's had a lot of learnings since last World Cup. I know we always like to look at it externally, like these really like fatal moments. From my perspective, I don't believe they could grow without that. Like, you need those setbacks. Sometimes on the biggest stages it's not ideal, but like maybe the team wasn't ready, you know? But the expectations in this country is win every game, every week, every tournament, every trophy. And it just isn't going to work like that, I'm afraid. Like, so we have to adapt a little bit to that. But for them, their learnings have been profound, and I think the group is ready to move on. That's what it feels like to me.
Hi, I'm Jeff Reuter with The Athletic. Hey. As you're going about the process of assessing for that 18-player squad for the Olympics and finding partnerships, how does the role of playing the same opponent twice in this window play into your decision-making?
I think playing the same opponent's great from a tactical perspective, because it allows for us to share with the team the adaptations you can make, knowing that the opponent will, of course, always change something. I don't think they will do the same thing twice. But having studied what they do, sometimes the implementation of those adaptations you can't do all at once. So being able to chunk it from game 1 to game 2 is really, really great. But also to drop things in during the game, which I was doing in the second half the other day, which was so much fun. That's where I come alive as a coach, to be able to say, remember those things I mentioned but we didn't train? they're happening. Can you execute them? And then the team executes them. Then we see it, we review it, we reflect on it. Then we put it in action again in training. Then we put it in action in the game. So, for me, that's a plus. I just feel like I often face that as a Champions League team would have them on a Wednesday and then the following Wednesday. So it's no different to me. It's just South Korea and not PSG.
Last two online. Let's go to Jae-ho Kim. Go ahead, sir.
Hi, coach. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, coach. Thanks for your time. I know you spent time with the G at the Chelsea so many years. Could you describe your time with her and what is it like to facing her as opponent?
You spent a lot of time with G at Chelsea. What was it like to face her in your first game?
It was really emotional. Yeah, I did.
No, we got it.
I got it. It was really emotional. We spoke before the game. Both of us were in tears. She was overwhelmed seeing everybody that had come from Chelsea. She didn't realise they'd come with me. So that was quite a surprise for her. We had a conversation about my dad. My dad was a really big figure for G, so we cried about that. And then we both thought we've got a game to play, so that needs to stop. But it's probably one of the most jovial players. Everybody says she got away with a lot with me. I wouldn't say that publicly because that never happened. But she's someone who I've, had a very maternal relationship with, and she came away from home, never spoke the language, found her homestays, found an amazing Korean community for her in London, and looked after her as best I could. So there's a special bond between us. Hence the reason why I chucked the ball at her head during the game as a 1-2 sort of thing she'd have done to me at some point. So, look, she's someone I love and value. I think American soccer's all the better for having her in the league. And it was just such a pleasure to watch her the other day. She's such a fabulous football player.
Last one goes to Andrew Jones. Go ahead, Andrew.
Thank you as always, Aaron. Andrew Jones, Believe Network. Good to see you, Emma. First, how was it like meeting Deion Sanders the other day out in Colorado? And building off that great question about Chi Sun Young, Chelsea, you probably saw they've expanded for women facilities for the women over there, for what you, Chi, and many other players built over. Your whole thoughts on that, and how was it like dealing with Todd Bowley amidst your stability and position compared to a lot of the changes with the male managers?
That's 3 questions in
I know,
one.
Andrew. We're going to have to limit you to 2 next time. But Emmett will give
This
it a
ain't
try.
my first rodeo.
Yeah.
Come on. So we did the first 2.
The first 2, Dion.
Dion. Yeah, I mean, listen, I was fangirling. I won't lie. I was in awe seeing him, meeting him. I watched all his Instagrams and his messaging and the charisma that guy has, the wisdom he often shares. But I feel the same when I watch Dawn Staley, and I feel the same when I watch Cara Lawson or Coach Reeves. Doesn't matter who. I think there's so many awesome coaches. Most importantly, so many amazing female coaches in this country, something that I don't have a lot of in mind. So, yeah, it was great to meet him, though.
And we'll do one question on Chelsea. Did they expand the facilities? I don't know.
What, since I left? I've only been gone a week.
Yeah, I was about to say.
It's exactly the same that it was a week ago.
I think maybe he meant from the time you started until you left.
I mean, we built out some other things, but that's always an ongoing thing. Yeah, I mean, it improved a little bit, but of course, you're always going to hear this from me. I think they can do even more for the girls.